Now, let's talk about some other things that went on interesting.
Oh, and by the way, for you people who find that offensive that we don't take this serious, you're right. We don't. Because there's way too many sports we enjoy.
Yeah.
Not saying we don't enjoy that one, but like one sport I enjoy, NFL free agency. That is a sport unto itself.
It is. This is not the MMA show. This is the sports show. The Uncut Sports Show.
It's all MMA all the time.
No. So we're going to talk about NFL free agency because here in the States, we love fucking football.
American football.
We love football.
Not
we
the kick of the
ball.
ball.
Football. Not to the players, but to the actual teams that we love. You told me that. You told me that before the camera turned on.
Her name was football.
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize that.
She had ass like a football.
Yeah. George is tweeting me all kinds of shit. You guys, if you guys don't follow us on Twitter, you might want to follow us just to see the shit that George has been tweeting to me tonight. Anyway, let's start with the teams that so far have made
big
some of the
splashes.
big splashes. And we got to start with the San Francisco 49ers because they needed a safety and they got one from the Colts and Antoine Bethea. And not that defense was already stacked. It is going to be even more stacked. That might be one of the best transactions that the 49ers could have pulled off because they needed that. They needed a little bit of help in their secondary, and they got that.
I'm gonna tell you what, the team who's made a bigger splash and the biggest one in my opinion, are the Patriots.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
They picked up 3 defensive backs, and 2 of them are pretty damn decent corners.
But they lost one.
Okay, if I told you at the beginning of the year you could take Darrelle Revis or Aqib Talib, who'd you take?
Oh no, I'm saying, but they lost probably. I think he's top 3. It's him, Revis, and Sherman are probably your top 3 corners. So they.
Oh, can we talk about Sherman for a second?
Here we go.
Because it has to do with your boy. Where does
my boy
plays for your team?
Oh yeah, D'Angelo Hall.
Why is D'Angelo Hall even going to go at Richard Sherman?
Because Richard Sherman was going at LeGarrette Blount. Because Richard Sherman just can't shut the fuck up.
Who's LeGarrette Blount? Yeah.
He's a running back. He did okay. He was
for who?
Well, he was
Which
playing
team this year?
I can't remember.
Ben was played on 97 teams.
He's
played on Tampa. What was he saying about LeGarrette Blount?
He was. I don't know. They were going back. You know how fucking Sherman has to just
right because I think that goes all the way back to their Pac-12 days.
Yeah.
When LeGarrette Blount landed a nasty right hand. Remember that? You don't remember that?
No.
LeGarrette Blount's leaving the field as an Oregon Duck and sucker punches a guy on the other team. We're not talking about a stand-up dude.
Was that a Stanford?
I don't know if it was Stanford. I know he sucker punched the piss out of somebody.
Yeah, but I forgot about that. But D'Angelo Hall and him are in a piss battle. And D'Angelo Hall's like, look, you know what? Because last year, obviously, Crabtree and fucking Sherman had the history. They got in some fight at this fucking. Yeah. He just.
Yo, dog.
We're watching. Bam. Yeah. Oh, guy from Boise State.
They're not even a football team.
Yeah, I know. They just got a blue field, which ducks crash on all the time.
Yeah, son. Yeah, son.
But as George would say, as I digress. Another team that was smart. 2 teams that have done pretty smart things are the Saints, because they franchised Jimmy Graham. Yeah. They needed to do that. And also the Carolina Panthers franchise Greg Hardy. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things, Earl Mitchell, who's a nose tackle, is now in Dolphin land. He has left the Texans and he's in Dolphin. Great thing. They needed somebody. The Dolphins needed somebody to clog up the middle, and they got that in Earl Mitchell. Now, what George was talking about earlier is, let me scroll down.
The Broncos have also made some waves in free agency. Picking up T.J. Ward and Aqib.
Okay, let's go to the Broncos. Let's talk about the Broncos. Everybody was like, oh, they should have let Eric Decker go. Yes, they should have.
Yeah, they just picked up Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah. Eric Decker is slow shit. Let's see how good Eric Decker does. When you run
Dude, do you have any idea how much the Jets just overpaid for a mediocre receiver?
This is the problem, guys. Okay, I'm sorry, New York Jets fans, but you got Eric Decker, he's a great player.
Who's going to throw him the ball?
Who's going to throw him the ball? Who's going to throw the motherfucker the ball? You guys have not had a fucking good quarterback since Noah built that motherfucking ark. It might have been before then. It's a long ass time ago.
I think Broadway Joe was their last good quarterback.
Broadway Joe. And then you had Ken O'Brien, who was like he was like a C+ quarterback. You don't even remember him.
Yeah, I remember.
You were still in your mother's womb.
No, I remember the old Jets uniforms and Ken O'Brien because it was green helmet with the white. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Well, actually, it was white helmet.
Now you got Geno Smith and you got Mark Dirty Sanchez.
And you might have Michael Vick.
none of them can throw the ball. I'm sorry. I mean, you can throw the ball compared to most people, but as an NFL quarterback, you can't throw the ball. Not as accurate as Peyton Manning. I don't think that accurate as Peyton Manning. Okay, and you know what? When Peyton Manning, when you got 3 or 4 other good receivers, Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker in the slot, and all these other good targets, you can get open when you're Eric Decker. When you run a 5.3 40.
Name another receiver on the Jets. Because they cut Santonio Holmes.
I don't want to hurt myself, man. Get a brain aneurysm trying to think. Because I can't do it. No. Now, the Broncos did let go of somebody I thought was pretty good, and that was Zane Beadles. And the Jaguars picked him up. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a guard. And he's a damn good guard. So that was
that was profound of you.
He's a damn good guard. So they lost him. Now, let's move on to my Redskins. Okay? I'll claim him, even though I don't own any part of that fucking organization. But the Redskins picked up Jason Hatcher, which everybody seems to think is a great move. It is a good move because they did it the right way. He had 11.5 sacks last year. The Redskins had so much... Arakpo and Kerrigan, as outside linebackers, were trying to do so much that the ends were not doing. Now they bring in an end that's proven. The only thing was, he's in his 30s, which is a good point, because when you're in your 30s, you start to fade a little bit. But he is coming off his best season last year. And he didn't have the supporting cast of DeMarcus Ware so much because DeWare was hurt.
DeWare?
DeWare was he?
I just like sitting here and waiting for you to mess up.
But they did his contract. Bruce Allen, who's the GM of the Washington Redskins, is pretty methodical about how he's doing things. He's getting the pieces that the Washington Redskins need, and he's saying, you know what? You can play 2 years for us, and since you're in your 30s, if you start to fade, that's where I'm going to put all your contract on third, fourth year. So if the Redskins do have to dump him in 2 years, I think they're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, do you know who Lamar Houston is? He's a nasty defensive end that used to play with the Oakland Raiders.
This is one of the guys this is the reason why Julius Peppers was expendable.
Yeah. He was expendable, one, because he's still playing on that name, and he had about no sacks hardly last year. And so they got Lamar Houston, who was a great pickup, and now he's a Chicago Bear. Also, the Bears are going to be getting rid of a defensive tackle, so I think they needed that in Henry Melton. I mean, they haven't signed him yet. He's a free agent. I don't know what's going to happen there. How do you feel about Donald Brown, the Colts running back? I mean, they obviously went and got Trent, dude from Cleveland.
Yeah, he's trash. Trent Richardson needs to step up or he's going to be out of the league here soon. Donald Brown is a nice versatile little back who can catch it out of the backfield as well as run. I think he's going to be missed, but San Diego's going to love to see him.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, looking at the list that you have up there, I think the next 2 big names to talk to are about Brandon Albert and Golden Tate. Yeah,
Golden Tate, and this is something that George and I were talking about before the camera actually came on. Golden Tate, obviously, Seattle let him go. But I tell you what, that really, I guess they really count on the fact that now Percy Harvin will be back. But, man, I mean, Golden Tate was a fucking good receiver. And it's not like Russell Wilson had a lot to throw to begin with.
And now he gets to play with Calvin Johnson.
He's going to be playing with Calvin Johnson. And not only that, you said they're trying to get dude out of...
there's grumblings about them taking the kid from Clemson.
Right. That could be crazy.
Yeah.
Now, that's where our boy Ramon could get really excited because now Matthew Stafford could have several people to throw to.
Well, no. All he's going to do is drop back and throw it deep because that's what elite quarterbacks do.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Anyway,
and the other one is Brandon Albert. Brandon Albert is a huge offensive. I mean, if you guys go and look at what the Kansas City Chiefs have lost in free agency, they are not even going to make it to the playoffs next year. They've lost way too many key pieces to their offense, and one of them is right there. And he's going down there to replace Jonathan Martin, and Jonathan Martin gets to restart his career out in San Francisco.
Yeah. So no one has picked up Richie Incognito yet. And he's a good fucking player. I mean,
he'll get picked up.
He will get picked up. You're right. Now let's talk real quick.
You know who would pick up a Richie Incognito because they love these reclamation projects? The Patriots.
Who do you think is going to pick up Chris Clemens? Who the fuck? You know?
I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Now let's talk about your boys. They re-signed Riley Cooper, which was
smart. I'm gonna tell you what. If you click on them and look at the team, the pickup of Malcolm Jenkins, who honestly couldn't tackle a one-legged polar bear, and he's from Ohio State, which is. so that automatically for me puts a strike against them. But they also picked up Darren Sproles, and they gave up a 5th-round pick that they got from New England. So they basically gave up nothing for a 30-year-old running back who played 33% of the offensive plays last year. And they've shored up their offense.
Let me tell you something. I think, you're going to have all your NFL trackers and all these analysts come in. I think that one of the best pickups and the best things was them picking up Darren Sproles. That guy is like my fucking size. He's so fast and quick, and he can catch out of the backfield, and he's a fit. And now you're going to have him playing alongside Shady McCoy?
So, in other words, what that tells me is you're drafting defense, unless some phenomenal, once-in-a-lifetime player has somehow slipped to you and you think you can make him fit in the system. Your first 4 picks better.
First?
Huh?
It is...
First.
Your first... What? I don't know what the fuck...
You do understand what happens next, right?
The remote goes...
Yeah, we're done. Because I'm tired.
Anyway, guys,
first 4 picks better be D.
There should be D for the Eagles. How do you like... Okay, let's fit it in this. How do you like what the Eagles have done so far in free agency? Yeah.
I'm not jumping up and down. They've re-signed their pieces, which to me is more important than anything they've done in free agency.
I love what the Eagles have done so far. Me as a Redskins fan, I love what the Redskins have done so far. They're not going after big names. They're not spending a lot of money.
They're finding pieces.
They're finding pieces that they really need, especially seeing they're running that 3-4 and their defensive pieces. And they're giving RG3 a little bit more protection by going after offensive line.
I cannot wait for that saga to start back.
Yeah,
it's like a soap opera.
Tell us your feelings.
March Madness is this weekend, but by the time you see this, that'll be past.
Right.
The Big Ten should be all gone by the Sweet 16 because they're horrible. Everyone's in love with Michigan.
What we'll do is we'll check back in with you guys after the Sweet 16 has been determined, after the first round.
That's what he thinks.
Yeah, George might not be doing this.